Here for another animated short film reaction video, and for today I'm going to be looking at a film from a former classmate. Well, actually this is a person who graduated the year before I got to the School of Visual Arts in the MFA, Masters of Fine Arts, Computer Art department. And this is his thesis film, actually. And the artist's name is Zach Schlappi. And he has worked with a number of big studios throughout this country, and he's worked on a number of big projects since the year 2000, and that's when this film came out. So I just wanted to focus on this a little bit because, again, I've spoken on 3D animation from years ago when I talked about I think it was the video for A Better Life, for Ian Pooley's song, A Better Life, called Bombas, and that came out in the early 2000s. But this is, again, is a thesis film, a student film that was created back in 2000, and it's a 3D animated film. And I just wanted to, to go ahead and react to it, and to throw something out there to let you know that a lot of what you see today is not that much different than what you've seen, something that was created 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. So, with that said, let's get started. So I always loved the intro he did, with this. And again, he had a nice little sepia tone along with it, and he has a nice kind of faded border, kind of reminiscent of the 1940s, World War II, newsreels. And if you see here, it's this pasta, the 3D model pasta. The animation is just very simply pasted upon the rigs and characters of, the duplicated rigs and characters of the pasta. Now you see right there in the middle, there was a character that was a little bit different, a little bit on their own. And again, very good look here, kind of creating a nice little blur look here, and this is happening in a kitchen. And much of what you see here, I'm trying to remember whether he modeled, the indentations and everything that you see on there. I'm not sure whether it was modeled or actually textured with not necessarily a normal map, but actually a bump map applied to the outside of the pasta to create the texture. And when you look at it, you can definitely tell that this is something that can get somebody a job. Again, this is from the year 2000. This was using Maya, possibly Maya 2 or Maya 3 to create this. And when I say Maya 2 or Maya 3, Maya version 2 or Maya version 3. And I think, like I said before in reacting to the Bombas video, a lot of the things that you see today in terms of creating nice specularity, nice highlights, creating a nice metal look on certain objects, again, this is 20 years ago. You can, any good 3D artist that has been around for a while, can take an old version of software, get to work on this, and be able to work in any new version of Maya that's out today. Again, really good work here on the flag, flying through, actually flopping through the air. But again, very good, very simple film. Nothing too complex, nothing too convoluted. But if you really take a chance of looking at it, most of the film is pretty much the same looking pasta, marching across the countertop. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, in this video, most of that primarily I would guess is, are just duplicated. You just take, the the main character, the character model, and you duplicate it however many times you need it, and you apply, you build the same rig, whatever rig you have to actually animate that character. You duplicate that rig, and you can bake the animation. Any animation you've already done on that one character and cycled it, you can take that very same animation and apply it to all of the rigs of all of the characters, and you can kind of automate it. There are certain ways that you can automate it through possibly set driven key, kind of setting certain parameters. Again, like I said before, a lot of the bells and whistles, a lot of the basic tools that you can use in Maya today were available 20 years ago in this version of Maya. The only difference, like I said, is that there are some processes that you're going to have to actually do yourself. Some bells and whistles that are available in Maya now, like say Maya 2020 or Maya 2021, you can just hit a button and it automates certain things, or makes things certain things a little simpler and easier. Whereas in older versions of Maya, you have to actually do everything on your own, step by step. And in some ways, I actually prefer that, because it makes you learn, the nuts and bolts of the software. It makes you learn how these things are put together, so you understand the processes. You understand how this is connected to whatever, how this influences this other thing over here. So to me, it's just very important to really know that you don't want everything. You don't want to have software so easy that you just hit a button and everything is already done, where you really don't understand the process which makes that button happen. And to me, I think that was just very important, and that was just the way that I was taught. I was taught pretty much having to actually build everything and do everything from scratch. But once you have it down, you can actually build your own buttons and create your own shelf within the version of Maya that you're using. So just something to think about with that. But again, going back to this film, it has a nice sepia tone with it. Like I said, very straightforward, very simple. You had the pasta characters. You also had the regular. I'm not sure if it's rigatoni. I'm not certain. I don't know my pasta very well. Then you have the bow tie pasta that was flying through the air, and then you have everything else within the scene, within the kitchen. You have the counters. You have the cabinets. You have that big pot that was there, and you had the scene with the fork that was attacking the pasta. So you had a number of elements that were within the scene that were very well modeled, textured very well, but going back into it, there were some parts of it, I would say, in terms of the specularity, the actual shininess of the pasta, might have been a little too much. And there were some shots, when you looked at it, just a little glimmer of it, you could feel that it was 3D. And sometimes when you're working with it, it's just that little bit that kind of gets you, and that's the the uncanny valley type of thing. That's the suspension of disbelief. Right at that moment, it broke that suspension of disbelief. So you actually can tell that, okay, this is not real. This is 3D. But another thing, like I mentioned before, any really good, any solid artist, whether you're working within texturing, modeling, rigging, animation, lighting, compositing, and even editing, any good artist can use a very old piece of software and recreate almost anything that you see being created today. If you have the talent and the skills and you really know the software in and out, you can recreate whatever you want. I can't necessarily say that about artists who are being trained right now, because like I said, a lot of the newer software has bells and whistles to it where you hit a simple button and you don't have to go through the entire process to recreate that. So I think it's really, like I said, I think it's very important to really understand that process so that you can really dig in And another thing that's important, I know a number of artists who are good programmers, and they know Python and also Maya's language on Mel. And I'm not quite certain. I'm thinking that Maya is using much more Python today. It's geared much more toward Python programming language than Mel. But if you have a programming background, that makes your ability working within 3D animation that much greater, or even any digital animation. So if for anyone wanting to get in animation, don't be afraid to go into programming, and understanding it. It will give you a little more longevity in your career as well, but it will also give you much more power into creating whatever it is that you want to create. But again, going back to this film, straightforward, really good film. I like the voiceover for it, kind of giving it that powerful feel, again within a newsreel, and really great effect. It's just straight to the point, and it shows you the power of 3D animation, whether it's 20 years ago or even today. So with that said, just keep on creating. If you're in animation, keep creating, keep working. And for anyone, if you have any other animated films, any animated short films that you want me to react to, please post in the comment section. Don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe to my channel. And with that said, Anim signing off.